this video, I want to tackle, I guess, the subject from the perspective of the carer of guilt and shame. Now, when B was first diagnosed, I was, I think, in a state of shock for a while. And I felt, overwhelmed with emotions. And one of them being trying to work out why this had happened. And I think the easiest thing for a parent to do is to feel responsible in some way. What was going on in my mind, kind of on repeat a lot of the time, was what had I done in my parenting, in my mothering, that had led to an eating disorder looking like a solution to something. And I found that really, really painful. And I'm guessing if you're listening to this video as a parent or carer, then you may well be feeling the same. I questioned everything. I looked back, whether, trying to think, was it because she was a middle child? She had brothers either side. Was it that her dad and I were having a really rough time? Was it something to do with the postnatal depression that I'd suffered? Was it that I was too smothering? And I've no idea. All that led to was more suffering, more confusion, more foggy thinking from my perspective. I felt shame. I felt shame that if we walked down the street, would people look at her and think that she's ill, and therefore look at me and think, oh, well, what have you done? I felt shame that people would blame me. Friends, family, strangers would have something to say about this. Oh, you think you're such a great parent, but look at your daughter. All right. Those were thoughts that were going through my head a lot, and I feel quite emotional just remembering that. And all I can say here is that you are not responsible for the eating disorder. There are so many reasons why people get eating disorders. But for me and for B, this is what we talk about a lot, is the eating disorder is a coping strategy. So something is going on in your loved one's mind, in their head, in their thinking that they're believing and taking seriously, that makes restricting or binging or bulimia, for them, that makes sense as a way to numb whatever feelings they've got going on. And that's where we look, is just to help them see what's going on in their thinking that makes this eating disorder make sense. Now, it could have been that my relationship that was falling apart was having some impact on the family. That goes without saying. But not every child that or every young person that has parents that are divorcing ends up with an eating disorder. So it's not that divorce will lead to eating disorders. It's just that there is something that makes sense as a way to help control or give the illusion of control for them, that they turn to an eating disorder for comfort, if you like. But the more we blame ourselves, the more we feel that guilt. And this isn't about not feeling guilty or not feeling shame. Acknowledge those feelings. Say them out loud. I feel guilty, blah, blah, blah. I feel shame, blah, 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 whatever that might be. Rather than ignoring them, acknowledge them. But they don't have to be the burden that we carry. Because that then just means that we are living in a place of fear, that we're worried that anything we say to them might be filtered through our own fear and shame, if that makes sense. So acknowledge that we have these feelings. We could feel really angry. We could feel really frustrated as well. We could feel rage towards them as well, and then feel guilt and shame about that. But when we can voice and say the name of the feelings that we're having, the emotions that we're feeling, then that kind of frees them somehow, that we can go, yeah, I feel this, but I'm now going to deal with whatever's right in front of me. Because the clearer we are as parents and carers, the less caught up and dragged down by our own feelings of guilt and shame, we're much more open and awake, if you like, to be helping them to recover from this. So have a look at those feelings and maybe journal about them, because that's something that's I know has always helped me, is to write down and get out my feelings. So maybe use your journal as a place to let off steam, so that you can get out and express all of the feelings that you have around guilt and shame, and just get them out, so that when you come back to being with your loved one, that you are in a much clearer space, that you're not carrying this extra baggage, if you like. I hope that's helpful. I know that once I was able to let go of those feelings, and of course they come back round again, but actually just being able to acknowledge them and seeing that they were getting in my way of being able to support B as best I could, then I just felt that was, a burden off me. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.